but you gotta get up.
You know this, sing with us. Let's go, come on.
I'd rather stand tall than live on my knees, 'cause I am a conqueror.
Inclusion in terms of the gay and lesbian and trans community, as well as inclusion in terms of race and gender, are all very much connected fights right now. And ones that I think Hollywood is starting to step up to the plate, but has really quite a long way to go.
I've been a supporter of HRC, an admirer of HRC. I owe so much to them for the work that they've done fighting for our civil rights. That's why I'm here tonight. That's why all of us are here tonight.
What y'all stand for is what I stand for, ultimately. I mean, I think that it goes beyond a orientation of sex, but rather human rights. And so I'm for y'all. So yeah, that's why I'm here. And it's so honored. I'm so honored to be here. The fact that they've actually given me another award for my show and my partner is pretty exciting. It's really, really humbling. It's very exciting.
I'm so honored to be here. Lee Daniels has done a lot for me and for my career at this stage, so I'm excited to be here to honor him. And also just to hang out and have fun with the kids, you know?
You can't turn on the TV without seeing, you know, this type of stuff going on, and I love it. I love it. And I think that it's becoming more relatable to the outside world who doesn't really know what's going on, so I love it.
I just think that it's an amazing organization, and I feel so proud to be part of a show that's being honored and that tackles taking on the gay community, especially in the African American community, which doesn't get talked about that much.
The LGBT community is probably more visible in television, a bit more in film, but I think that when it comes to giving a voice to the LGBT community, I think that there's probably more ground being broken in television.
I decided to come out and support people around the world and what they might have been going through. My show, I'm on Empire, of course, and it shows a raw reality of something that can happen to someone's life as they grow up, gay or lesbian or transgender. So I think it's really important for me to sit here, to come here and support everyone through their journey. Yeah.
The Hollywood community and the entertainment community has been, on the forefront just because it puts things into the homes of people that live somewhere between here and New York, and it just kind of makes it more normal, that hey, you have a gay brother or a gay son or whatever, and it's same as that TV show you watch, like it's no big deal, it's fine, love them up.
Well, I know 10 years ago, a lot of the characters that we were seeing on television and stuff were exploited, and there were, not as many amazing representations as we have now. And I've seen that Hollywood has grown and has been writing like these really in-depth, incredible characters with arcs for the LGBT community, and I hope that they continue to do so. Myra Lund Looking was one of the first characters that were scripted to have HIV on television in years, and as GLAAD shows us, as Human Rights Campaign shows us, representation means validity to a lot of people, so it's great to be represented.
Nowadays it seems like the powers that be in certain areas of politics are trying to kind of squash people's natural rights, their human rights, if you will. And we got to stand together in solidarity, whether you're straight or part of the LGBT community. An affront against one of us is an affront against us all. So we got to stick together as humans.
In some ways, tonight is a celebration for the strides made, and I think in some ways a recognition that this is a worldwide effort, and that at no point until everybody is equal can you rest and say the job is done.
I'm gay and married, and I was lucky enough to grow up in a community that was accepting of me, and I know there are thousands of kids growing up across America who don't have that same pleasure of, acceptance all the time, and so it's important to keep presenting hope to them and tell them that it's going to be okay and that it gets better.
I know that we have many entertainment industry leaders in the room tonight. And like other states, Georgia offers tax incentives for TV and for film productions. And as many of you know, as a result of that, the entertainment industry has a huge economic footprint in the state of Georgia. But if this bill is signed into law, your employees, your contractors, all those working on your production are at risk of state-sanctioned discrimination. That's wrong, it's un-American, and it's affront to the values that Hollywood prides itself on. And you have the influence and the opportunity to not only defeat this bill, but to send a message that there are real consequences to passing dangerous and hateful laws like this. And so tonight, we're asking you to join us as we urge TV and film studios, directors and producers to commit to locating no further productions in the state of Georgia if this bill becomes law.
The struggle comes because we keep believing year after year after year we can do better, that we can find love instead of hate, that we can find our promise instead of peril, and that we can find each other. At a moment when people want to build walls up around us, this organization and this city stands for tearing them down.
For 2 decades now, Nina has inspired so many of us not to be comfortable with just being gay, but rather being comfortable being human. She doesn't like labels. She has always stood for equality. This year in my company, I created a foundation called HALF. And the goal of that foundation is very simple. From this year on, 50% of all the directorial slots on TV shows that I produce will be filled by women, and 50% will be filled by minority and LGBTQ individuals.
So what does it mean to be visible at a time like this, when bigots are the ones coming out of the closet all across the country? We are in a battle now with those committed to inclusion on one side and those railing against it on the other. HRC is uniquely positioned to fight the battles to come. HRC has the reach and influence to stand up to homophobic lawmakers in 32 states with pending anti-LGBT legislation. HRC's corporate index is being used in Hollywood as a template for those of us who want systemic change to make our industry as inclusive as the audiences we need to reach. The CEI singles out corporations that value and respect inclusion and shines a light on those who do not. This kind of accountability will soon be applied not just to Fortune 500 companies, but to film and television productions as well. It is no longer enough for me just to be out and visible in my workplace. I am committed to using my position to make sure the movies and television I produce feature rich, complicated characters who are Black, Hispanic, Asian, Muslim, gay, and trans. And I am committed to making sure the faces behind the camera are just as diverse. I know I can't equivocate or hold back in my commitment to that fight. Because if there was ever a time to be a badass, militant, activist lesbian, it's right now.
You know, growing up, I didn't necessarily have a lot of people to look up to in the media and on television, people that I could identify with. And for me, although the character of Jamal, the show Empire is not, it's a story. It's not the story. But with this story, what our creator, the great Lee Daniels, and his partner Danny Strong, and our incredible showrunner Eileen Shaken have been able to do is to make an indelible imprint on the world forever. And if I had Jamal Lyon when I was a kid, I probably would have had a much different life and a much different outlook on what life could be.
Lee Daniels is a visionary filmmaker, an iconoclast, a bold and fearless rabble-rouser. I love working with him and with this extraordinary cast of gifted actors with a shared passion for pushing boundaries and striving to tell the truths that aren't being told elsewhere. I love that both Lee and Jussie Smollett are unafraid to tell the story of Jamal with complex nuance and specificity, and unwilling to back down, even in the face of real and sometimes dangerous hostility. We're facing some of the darkest, ugliest politics of my lifetime. I believe we'll prevail, I do, but it's clear that our fight is far from over. We can't go backwards. I won't. We'll march in the streets. We'll stand them down. I'll stand with HRC and with each and every one of you. Thank you for honoring us tonight.
Now, I'm afraid. Because these motherfuckers are coming for us, y'all. Everybody in this room. They're coming for us. And I think that I don't know whether you realize how much they're coming for us. And this is not a joke. And I've watched everybody kiki and ha-ha and hee-hee and to make light of what really is going on. They are coming for every one of you. White people are not excluded. They're coming for us. It is time for us to stand up. It is time. It is time for us to do the right thing. It is time for us to support HRC.
I'm super stoked to be here tonight. I couldn't wait to get here because being in a room full of people that are here for love and equality and people who actually don't like bigotry is a good thing. So thank you.